Glad you're joining me today. And we're going to be talking about the one thing no one else has but you. And I am very excited to be sharing this with you. Oh, look, some people are back that I know and love. Thank you for joining me again. Priscilla, Bob, Cynthia, yay. So glad you're back. So I'm going to and hello and welcome. I am so sorry that I couldn't be with you yesterday. I don't like to miss, and I am so grateful that you came back today because it has been a rainy day in Southern California. Hi, Cynthia. And you know what that means? Oh, Caesar Girl is back. Okay, wait a minute. I know your first name too. Hold on. Let me just see. Caesar Girl is Valerie. Welcome back. And thank you for inviting followers, and thank you for the hearts. I'm so grateful. Anyway, I was saying that the one thing that's very exciting in Southern California is rain. It's like the great big news. And so my excuse for not being on yesterday was the fact that we had rain in Southern California. And oh my goodness, it was like torrential. And 5000, 2009, welcome. Thank you for joining me. So when I came home to do my Periscope yesterday afternoon, after a very long day, I realized that the side yard of my house was completely flooded and it was in danger of going into my house. So I had to run out to Lowe's and grab one of those sump pumps. No one was home but me, and so there I was with a sump pump and a 100-foot hose. Yes, 100-foot hose. I had to hook up the hose. I was trying to clear the drains in the pouring rain, hence the still rainy day hair. And you had quite the nature adventure day. Yes, I did. But because, Cynthia, I think you're referring to the fact that I woke up with an earthquake. So go figure, Southern California was like a theme park yesterday. I got to experience it all. And the earthquake, I guess, was only about a 4.8, but still it was enough to rattle my bed. And I thought somebody was under my bed. I was scared to death. You look fabulous. Oh, thank you. Well, I got the rainy day hair sort of frizz going on, but you know what? That's who I am. I'm frizzy red-haired me. So, oh, Grace is back. Thank you, Grace. I was just sharing my story about my earthquake and then my almost flood, which I had to save myself, my home from, with a sump pump and a hose, but I got it all handled in order to come back to you tonight. I'm still pumping, by the way, because we had more rain, and now my pool is overflowing, so I have to pump that tonight because it's not good for my pool to overflow into my front yard. So anyway, long story, but it actually was kind of an adventure. And so I'm back. And what I want to talk about is, hold on, let me just read it to you. The one thing that no one else has but you. Yes, oh wow, Grace. The one thing that no one else has but you. Kimberly is back. Hi, Kimberly. So glad you're here. Thank you for all the hearts. You know, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to joining me because I have over 80,000 hearts. And what I love about that is it fuels me to no end to keep going. And Kimberly, thanks you for sharing your followers too. I am so grateful when you share my information and my broadcast because it means that I get the opportunity to reach more people. 86031 when I came in. Yeah, is that right? 86,031 hearts? Woohoo! That's great. So what I want to tell you is thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting to me to 86,000 hearts. And I know my regulars are here tonight and I'm so grateful. Thank you for inviting your followers. Thank you for following me. And I have got a week next week planned for you that I am over the moon excited about because it's what I do best. And that is I share about writing your story because your story has value and purpose. And I'm going to show you how. I have spent hours and hours and hours developing this information that I already know because I worked I'm a professional writer. I've written 4 books. One of them made it all the way to the Grammy ballot as a spoken word CD. My 4th book, I've received 8 awards. So I know the heart of the story. I've understood it. All these years, I'm getting better and better, and I cannot wait to share it with you. I think I missed a few comments, and I'm sorry. I just started to get so passionate I had to keep sharing. But I'll go back and replay it. So what I want you to know is this. Let me just move this over here. Is that in speaking and writing, and the connection that you get in sharing your story is like no other. And today, I was thinking about a friend of mine, and she's on Facebook. She just lost her dad. And that brought me back right to all of the thoughts that I had about loss when I experienced it. And I know some of you on this broadcast have experienced it, because it's the one common human denominator that we all have at some point. We're going to experience loss, whether it's loss of a friend or a relative or a loved one, or, oh, Clarice, thank you for coming back. Welcome. The one thing we're all going to experience is loss. And the one thing that unites us in that common feeling is our compassion. Hello. Oh, you got a beautiful purple color today. So, I was thinking about my writing challenge coming up, and I was thinking about the woman that I know and love. And I saw on Facebook a week or so ago that she had lost her dad. And it was unexpected, and he shouldn't have died. He was much too young. But this friend had taken me to lunch a couple of months ago, and she said, I would love to take you to lunch and ask you about writing, because it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I've always felt like it was something that I should be doing. So I was wondering if you could help me. Well, I gave her my lunchtime, as much as I could, information to get her started. And she was so excited about it. But then she had some other things go on. She was going through school and starting her practice and everything. So it was a little difficult. So she never did end up getting started, but she's still thinking about it because she contacts me all the time. And I thought, should I contact her and tell her about this writing challenge, or is grieving not an appropriate time? And I remembered when I lost my son and then my husband, and I remembered that feeling of grief, and I kept going back and forth, and I kept thinking, wow, would that be intruding on her grieving and healing process to share with her that I have a writing class coming up? Because suddenly this writing classes seem fun and exciting, and I'm not sure she's feeling that. And I started to get nervous because I didn't want to intrude on her, but I wanted to tap into that enthusiasm that she once had. And I thought, then when I was grieving, I was just trying to survive. And one more thing on my plate, I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I could even wake up in the morning and function when I was going through the grieving process. But then I started thinking there was one thing, and one thing alone, that helped me get to center again. And that one thing was writing. And I know there are those of you on this broadcast that have thought about it before. And what does writing do in our lives? Well, a whole host of things. I can tell you that not only does it bring healing, not only does it bring a story to life, your credibility in the workplace, if you write your story and maybe you're a coach or a therapist. Jason, thank you for coming. Yay. Yes, it's a release. It has so many components to it. You know, when I tell people that I've written a book, there's a certain amount of credibility attached to it. And for me, I am so grateful that I kept going after my first book. And now I have 4 books that I'm very, very proud of that have opened doors that I never could have imagined, because suddenly I've written something very personal and very credible. And so I realized that not only that, Cynthia says, even if she declines, you'll have given her the gift of reaching out to her. Cynthia, thank you for saying that, because that's exactly what I did. Is I wrote her an email, and I was conflicted. I was a little nervous. I wrote her actually a message on Facebook. And I was a little conflicted because I thought, would I be intruding? And I've already reached out to her and, you know, sent love and my compassion and what, you know, all of those things that you do when you know someone is grieving. But then I realized that maybe this would be a gift to invite her, something that she's already asked of me, to invite her to the writing program on Monday, that begins on Monday. Writing for me, when I was grieving, oh wait, let me read Cynthia's comment. The chance and power to get to say no is so important rather than being left to the side. Yes, and I had to learn to say no a lot more when I was going through the grieving process. And so, not only that though, writing was the one thing that brought me connection with my faith. And I was troubled, and my conflicted spirit. Writing brought me center into that turmoil that goes on when you're grieving, that tumultuous fog that just keeps circling in your head. When you can't figure things out, writing was the one respite from that pain. Because I could write it and I could put it on the paper and then just observe it and let it rest for a while. And so at that time, I wrote daily in my journal. It was the one thing I could do. So it was also the one thing that I knew I was good at, because I'd written in my journal since I was just a little girl. Or poetry. I'd also worked with my husband because he was a television screenwriter. Writing was the one common denominator. But I realized that not everybody writes, but they do tell their story. And sharing their story is also the one common denominator that we all have, because we all share stories about ourselves. So I kept thinking about my friend who had lost her dad. And I said, okay, I'm just going to be bold and I'm going to send her a message. And so I have to share with you the message that she sent back to me. I want to read it. She said, Sandy, I agree. I have already signed up for your class. This will move me closer to writing my book. And she put an exclamation point. I thank you for your gentle nudge, because it is needed and appreciated. I know! Isn't that great? I am so thrilled. So, yeah, Valerie, that was awesome. So I realized that there's one thing, and I titled this The One Thing We All Have But No One Else Has on this Periscope, and that's our story. Our story is the one thing that we know so well, and we've had to learn from it, otherwise we wouldn't have survived. We had to pick ourselves up from it, otherwise you wouldn't be on this broadcast today and I wouldn't be talking about it. Wonderful connection. Oh, yes. You know, it is the most wonderful connection you can have, is telling your story. And I want to read something to you, because there might be a few things stopping you. And I'm glad you segued into that, Cynthia, because If there are a few things stopping you from writing and sharing your story, let me just share something Brene Brown said. If you're afraid of feeling vulnerable, remember, she said vulnerability is the only true connection people have. If you don't offer vulnerability, people don't trust you. And think how far that goes in our world today. Not only in our personal life, but think about how people trust you in your workspace or in your friendships, or if you're going your church, when you attend church, or if you're a salesperson, or in any avenue. You want to look trustworthy and have people feel that you're trustworthy. Isn't that right? Well, the best way to do it is to share vulnerability. And you know what? That gives them a safe place to be vulnerable with you. And I know that this is resonating because I'm getting these beautiful blue and green and yellow hearts, and it feels so good. And I'm sharing my vulnerability with you. And that's the truth. Because, yeah, I've had some pretty difficult times in my life, and I am so grateful that I am here able to talk about it, because I've realized the importance of vulnerability in our healing. That's why we trust you. Wow. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's huge for me. And so remember, you're not only writing and sharing your story. And again, you know, Valerie, that was like the perfect segue, because you're not only writing your story and sharing your vulnerability for yourself, but you're sharing it to heal others. Oh, Carrie's back. Welcome. You're sharing it to heal and serve others. And that's huge. You know, being able to help other people, isn't that worth vulnerability? Isn't that worth being able to be open? And here's the other thing. A side effect of sharing your vulnerability is allowing your shame to be revealed. And a couple days ago, I revealed some things that I felt shame about until I started sharing them. And once the light shines on them, shame can't exist. You know, I love Brene Brown's work because she's taught me so much about that. And once you bring that light to shame, your life will improve because you'll begin to heal. Now, another thing is that somebody expressed to me, and I'm not sure if it was you, Valerie, or Priscilla, no, it was Amy, who said she was afraid of moving on. She was afraid of telling her story and moving on. And what I was sharing that day is moving on is a very ambiguous word, and for me, moving on is never a term that I share because, oh, Sally's here. Because Sally will tell you there is no moving on from some things. You know, Sally lost a child. I lost a child. And I know others of you have had similar losses. And if somebody told me, you know, it's time to move on, which they did, it killed me. It killed me. Because what did moving on mean to me? I thought it meant that I had to forget. And I had to forgive. And I had to get on with my life as though it didn't happen. But that's not the truth. You don't have to move on. For me, it's moving into the next part of my life where I get to take my son and my memories and still hold him in my heart and in my words and in my stories daily. Bad things people say to a grieving parent, yes. And you know what? I wrote an article about that, Sally. I think I shared that article with you, and it's actually in my book too. And that article went all over the internet because everybody wants to know what not to say to a grieving parent. And oh gosh, I wish that I could, I wish I had that up on my, you know what, I should share that tomorrow because I have a blog post that you can read. And it's the one that sort of went viral. It went all over the place because people are terrified of saying the wrong thing, and it happens. And you just have to forgive yourself because you don't always say the right thing. I don't always say the right thing. I help people go through grieving. That's what I do. That's what I write about. And yet, okay, I will share it. Oh gosh. You know what? Can you hold on a second? Do you mind? Because I'm going to find it for you. Okay? All right. So, let's see. If you go to, you know what I want? I hate to keep you holding. Oh, you've got it? Okay. Can you share it? Do you have it on the internet? The link to it? If you do, because it's going to take me forever to find it. Oh, okay. All right. So everybody follow Cynthia at Ripple on the Sea. You can just, click her. If you click her profile and then follow her, and you can see her Twitter handle. Oh, she just tweeted it. Okay. Awesome. It's 10 things not to say to a grieving parent, or actually anybody grieving, and 10 things to say to a grieving parent. And you know what? It's so helpful. And it was the thing that I get interviewed a lot on the radio because people want to know. They want to be holding the right words ready to embrace the person who is struggling. So, Cynthia, you are awesome for sharing that. I should have had that ready. Oh, but I didn't expect to go into that place. That's what I love about Periscope is it takes me into unexpected places because all of you give me this fantastic feedback and it energizes me. And then I start talking about things I hadn't even planned on talking about. But anyway, I am so grateful. So, that fear of moving on, no, you don't have to do that. In fact, I don't recommend it. I recommend moving into the next part of your life. Saying nothing is worse than a lot of people think, and that is true. And I used to do that before I'd experienced my first tragic loss. I used to think, maybe if I don't bring it up, then it won't remind them. Are you kidding me? The grieving parent or the grieving person, the only thing on their mind is that loss. And I had people really close to me say that. I know all of you have, if you've experienced that kind of loss. They didn't mean it. They're just trying so hard to figure out how to absorb what you're going through because it's the biggest nightmare of their lives. They just want to know. They just want to hold you and lift you up and say the right thing. And so forgiveness is a huge part of the grieving process. Isn't it, Sally? Don't we have to learn how to forgive certain things that are said unexpectedly? And God knows we all say the wrong thing. Grace, yes. So, okay. Number 5, be candid about your own experience because every single one of us has hidden pain. It's so hard in my case. I know, Sally. You know what? You and I are tied together forever. And we're going to get through this time. It has ups and downs. You know it. You know it. So be candid about your pain. And actually this ties into you, Sally. Be candid about your pain. When people say, how are you doing? And you say, I'm fine. Is that being vulnerable? Is that being transparent? No. And the one thing that I talk about in my book is you develop a sentence when you've lost someone. You try to figure out the right thing to say when people say, how are you? And you have to sort of gauge, is this a person that I really want to know or is it not? And I developed a sentence that I would say, you know what? I'm not doing so great. I'm having a tough time because I just lost my son. But thank you for asking. Now, sometimes it stops people in their tracks, and that's okay. It's not selfish of you. You know what it does? It reminds them of how important it is to love every single day. To show love and express love every single day. And so, remember, there is one thing that you have that no one else has, and that's your story. Your story is your gift and your legacy. It's the thing that will connect you. It's the thing that you have, and the way you've experienced it is unlike anybody else. And that's important to share, because you're going to make a huge difference in the world when you do. And it may be just one person at a time, or it may be hundreds of people. You don't know the impact that you're going to have by sharing your story until you do. And you may not know for 20 years, like I did. 20 years later when I got that phone call from the producer, I had no idea that I had changed his life. My story had changed his life. I mean, that was a miracle. So my friend that I contacted on Facebook and told her about my writing class, she's excited, and she said, "Thank you for that gentle nudge." Oh, Grace said, "I used to fear judgment in having to defend choices." Yeah, fear. Fear of being ourselves and feeling like we might be attacked or have to defend our choices. Well, Grace, that's something that we can talk about in the coming weeks, because I know everybody feels that way, and thank you for sharing that information. And one way to put it out there is to share your stories. And so this is your gentle nudge, just as my friend thanked me today. Thank you for that gentle nudge to get started writing my book and sharing my story. Well, this is your gentle nudge to join me next week, starting Monday at 5 o'clock Pacific. I have so much information to share with you about writing, about telling your story. I use a tool in the process that I use actually for grief recovery people. It is so helpful for healing. And so if you want to join the writing, it's the bit.ly/emerging writer. And you got to capitalize the E and the W, or it won't work. I found that out the hard way. Sally told me that. But on these next 5 broadcasts starting Monday, let me tell you what I'm going to talk about. Everything that we talked about today, I'm going to tell you how to define the story you want to tell. I'm going to show you a technique that I use to make sure that the story you want to tell has meaning and purpose. I'm going to give you a strategy for getting your book organized into chapters. I'm going to teach you how to never lose another great idea most of the time. I found a time that I'm still struggling with, and that's during spinning class in my exercise in the morning. The 2 antidotes to cure writer's block, and even just resistance to writing, sitting down in the chair, and how to get started reading and how to get started telling the story your reader needs to hear. Because you're just about to change lives, and you don't want to go to the end of your life and say, "Oh, I should have written a book. You wouldn't believe the story of my life." And that's what people say to me all the time. So let's get started next Monday. I'll be back tomorrow and we'll talk about some more stuff. But I am so grateful that you were here today. And again, if you want to join my writing challenge, bit.ly/emerging writer, be sure and capitalize the E and the W. And then I send you an email to remind you on Friday and on Sunday. And then you'll get an email every day of the challenge with the homework and the worksheet. And then you will be a part of this Facebook group. If you want to join my Facebook group, Periscope with Sandy Peckinpah. And just check off that you want to join and I'll approve it because I'd love for you to join me. You all are my Periscope family, and I'm so grateful that you joined me once again. Thank you for following me. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your great questions. You so inspire me that I go back and reread all the comments because you fuel me. Thank you. Oh, thank you. All right, good night, and I'll be back tomorrow. Take care. God bless.